Hello guys and dolls, welcome back. It's me, Cora. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a review and swatch fest for the new NYX Wicked Lippies. I am so excited about this launch. Oh my god. NYX recently launched this line of lipsticks, I think just maybe a week ago or something like that. I don't know how long exactly it's been out, but I just heard about it a couple days ago. Bought them immediately, had them rush shipped here so I'd be able to go ahead and do this review for you guys as soon as possible because they're brand new and I want to make sure you guys get them before they sell. And also, did you notice I was like, soon? I'm like, anyway, this lipstick line is super interesting because all the colors are sort of unusual colors for lipstick, like olive green and gunmetal gray. For those of us that are into like really exciting lipstick, it's not something that we haven't seen before. If you're into OCC, you're used to unusual colors and stuff, but it's so exciting to see them at this super cheap price point, which I believe is $5.99 or $6 even or something. And colors like this are definitely an acquired taste. Like, they're not for everyone. Not everyone's gonna be like, yeah, let's wear green lipstick, sure. But for those of us who are a little weirder and we like our cosmetics a little more eccentric, this is really exciting because these are inexpensive. So you can get multiple colors and experiment. So if you've never been able to get an OCC lipstick or get a Milk Cosmetics lipstick, or you can go ahead and experiment a little bit with these and you're not out of pocket so much money. So I just want to kind of dive into talking about them in terms of formula before I start talking about the colors. So if you're familiar with the NYX macaroon lipsticks, you're already going to kind of have somewhat of an idea of what these are like. I think that these are maybe a little bit more slippery than the macaroon lipsticks, which I tend to think are pretty slippery as it is. These are different from the macaroon lipsticks though because they have shimmer in them. So they're kind of like related, but they're cousins, not siblings, you know what I mean? None of these lipsticks are 100% opaque, and I think that the shimmer in it has something to do with it, but I think the number one thing that stops them from being opaque is that they're a very emollient lipstick, and that's a nice way of saying kind of greasy. I'm just being honest here. I think that this is still really cool and I don't want to hate on them, but when you have this type of pigmentation, I think it does go best with a slightly drier lipstick. They don't have to be mega dry, just like a hair drier, and I think that they would show less of your lip color through, especially if you have very pigmented lips. The color tends to sort of show through a little bit, and with some of these colors it ends up looking weird, and not in the weird kind of way. You're not in like the intended weird way, but like as here's the thing, when you're wearing something that's unusual, it's best to do it as perfect as possible because then it ends up looking striking in a positive way, as opposed to doing something and it looks half-assed and then you look a little more Courtney Love than we'd like to, no offense to Courtney Love, I love you girl, but ooh, sometimes you're a hot mess. My point being that I do feel like there should have been a little bit more pigmentation in these, or maybe make the lipsticks a little bit on the drier side just to kind of capture that ultimate pigmentation, because I do find that matte lipsticks do tend to be a little bit more pigmented, but they certainly can be built up to be opaque. As as you can see here, you can't really see my lip color through these, but because they're emollient, they do tend to kind of feather out into lip lines a little bit. You got to be really careful, and of course you don't really have a green lip liner lying around. Of course, I personally would just use a eyeliner. I would just fully sanitize a eyeliner, sharpen it, use it on my lips, and then sanitize it again before I would to go ahead and use it on my eyes. But you can totally do that. But the other way that it being so emollient is problematic is that it actually kind of slips around on the inside of your mouth. So even if you apply it very carefully, or you get a little finger pop thing. I've done this now like 3 times, and each time I have more stuff on there because it keeps sliding around to the inside of my mouth, and then it gets my teeth. So it's definitely a high maintenance type of thing, versus if it were a little bit more mattified, it would kind of lock in place and you wouldn't have to fuss with it as much. With that said, I think that if you're a fan of this kind of color, you're gonna put up with it. You're gonna make it work. The thing that I found really helpful is to use a primer as a base. Now, I really liked the NYX lip primer underneath these. I felt like it really helped to suck some of that moisture out. I also found that putting this on and then powdering my lips just with my face powder and then applying these made them go on kind of amazing. So that would be my ultimate tip for you guys. It does still slide around a little bit, but it definitely does minimize it a little bit when you put the powder on. I didn't do it today because I was just, I don't know. The other thing that I find really helpful is to use a lip brush around the lip edges. You're just not going to get a super crisp, clean line with these just because they are that like kind of slippery type of lipstick, and it's such an unusual color. You're going to want to kind of doctor it around the outsides and kind of make sure it's all nice and clean. The other thing too is that if you find a place where like it's not going on super smooth, go ahead and like swipe it like this and then finish up by patting. I don't know why, but it works. It's just something that I noticed myself doing while I was doing the swatches of these. So now I'm going to go through each individual shade and give you my thoughts and tell you what my favorites are and everything like that. I'm going to go in numerical order. This collection comes with 12 lipsticks, but I only bought 8 because I felt like these were the ones that I was really going to like. They were the ones that might dupe something high-end that I would like to share with you guys. There were 4 others in the collection that I didn't really see anything. They didn't really do anything for me. There was one that was sort of like a silvery color that I was like, I'll pass. There was a gold and a copper one, and I have so many gold and copper lipsticks that I just was like, and I almost never use them, so I thought, okay, no. And then there was a green tinted blue, and it just didn't look like something that I would really use. So anyway, here's what I did buy, and let me go ahead and share with you the colors. The first one is Immortal, and Immortal is a really nice, cool, very cool toned purple, almost leaning blue, but it just barely comes under the radar as purple. I really like this one. It had good pigmentation. It felt nice on the lips. This one was one of the less shimmery of the full bunch. And overall, it's a really neat color. It is a close dupe for Techno Pagan from OCC if you're interested. It's not an identical dupe, but if you mix it with one of the other ones in here, it comes pretty close. It stops just shy of having the amazing metallic finish that Techno Pagan has, but it's so close. Most people wouldn't really even notice the difference. The next color in this collection is called Scandalous. Now, I'm feeling a little bit nostalgic about Saturday morning cartoons since they don't exist anymore. And does anyone remember Recess? The Ashleys would always go, Scandalous! So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll link a little clip down below. But Scandalous is an amazing teal lipstick with a violet kind of like highlight in it. It's not as metallic as the other ones. It's not as glittery or shimmery. Not really super opaque. It's one that you're going to want to fiddle with. In fact, I would even maybe put down like a white lip liner first and then put this over and they would mix together, or maybe like mix black and a white so that it's gray, so that it's neutral, and so that it doesn't lighten the color up too much. I know a lot of people are going to want a comparison between this and Pistachio, so here, so you can go ahead and check that out and see what the two look like compared. The next color in the lineup is called Trickery, and this one is an olive green lipstick. Oh my god, so I have never seen anything really quite like this, and this is the #1 reason why I wanted to buy all these, because I saw this one and I was like, you have to have that, oh my god. So this one actually goes on pretty opaque. A little bit of my lip color does show through, which is kind of annoying because when it shows through it just makes it look kind of weird. So I would recommend putting on maybe a black lip liner as a base, or even doing like using Urban Decay Stash eyeliner as a base on your lips before, because it's almost the exact same color. This one's very metallic, super awesome, great pigmentation. Really love this lipstick. The next lipstick is called Betrayal, and this one is sort of like a really deep eggplant plum. It's enough of a cool tone to not be considered like a full-on like plum, because to me plum is like a warmer shade of purple. But it ends up going on your lips a lot more warm looking than it does in the tube. This is also a really close dupe. Definitely this one is really close to Pagan lip tar. The next lipstick is called Risque, and it's an absolutely amazing emerald green metallic finish, super pigmented, probably one of my favorites. I absolutely adore it, and I have mixed it today with Scandalous to get the color that you see here. The effect is pretty close to a Melt Cosmetics lipstick called Blow that I've been wanting for a really long time, but they never have the damn thing in stock. So I decided to just make my own by mixing the two together. It's not exact, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I still want to pick up Blow whenever it's available, but this is so close. It's kind of like, you know, it's calming the Jones. It's calming my lemmings for it, but I still really want it. So this next lipstick is called Power, and it's actually pretty much almost like a normal lipstick color. Something about this though is just like very like 1980s super frosty grape colored lipstick. It's just, I don't know. It's still a weird color if you ask me, but it's not nearly as weird as the other ones. But it was one that I thought, okay, you know, that might be kind of an interesting mixing color or something to add a shimmer to like a regular lipstick if I was wearing something. So it was just one that I thought I would pick up, and I actually really like it. It goes on really nice. It's very opaque. This is definitely one of the better ones in the bunch, but it's definitely not as weird as some of the others in the line. This next lipstick is called Cold Hearted, and I love Cold Hearted. Oh my god, this is a good lipstick. This one's super opaque. It looks actually pretty attractive on. It's like strangely, in fact, a lot of these, it's strange, but they actually look attractive. In fact, even this green lipstick looks good. Well, I mean, I'm wearing like a whole lot of things today. I actually kind of wish I had worn this with a more neutral look just to kind of, but you know, whatever. I just felt like playing with makeup today, whatever. So back to Cold Hearted. This is a absolutely amazing gunmetal lipstick. This is definitely a must-have. This is a good mixing color. You might even want to get two because this would be one that you can mix in with your regular lip colors and change the effect, change the tone. This one is super, super cool, and I could see myself ripping through this tube really quickly. And it's good stuff. And then the final lipstick in the lineup is called Envy, and this one is a true blue, cobalt blue lipstick. This one is a little bit less shimmery and less glittery than some of the others, and I know that you guys are going to want me to compare Envy, which is the true blue. You can see that it almost looks a little bit similar to Immortal, but Immortal definitely does pull more purple. Then we have Betrayal, which you can see is definitely the most pigmented of the three. It's super, super opaque. And then we have Immortal. I'm going to go ahead and do one more swipe of Immortal. Immortal does need, I guess, a little bit more building up than I remembered. But still, overall, these are super opaque, right? Like, I mean, it just takes a few extra swipes. The only downside of that is because it's a slippery lipstick, it kind of, you know, makes it a little messy, but we're totally willing to deal with it to have these awesome colors, right? Right? Right. Those are all the colors in this collection. I think it's really fantastic. Unfortunately, it's only available at nyxcosmetics.com right now. If it does become available at Ulta, I will update this video with a link to the Ulta website because I know we all want to get our points for these, but realistically, I was like, I can't wait for the points. I need to have them immediately, if not sooner. So I will have a link to the NYX website. I keep checking my teeth to see if there's green stuff on them. Definitely high maintenance. I want to invite you guys to check out my blog at Vintageortacky.com. I just did a little bit of a redo on it. I kind of like what I've done, and also you guys can see these still swatches of this. I'm also going to have a link to my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter in the description box down below if you'd like to follow me at Vintageortacky. And that's about it for this video. I hope you're having a wonderful week, make good choices, and just be yourself. See you, bye! Hey guys and dolls, it's me, Cora. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my favorites for the month of September, and I'm pretty excited about it. And I'm just going to launch right into talking about the products because you notice I don't have any lip product on. I'm going to kind of continue that conversation that I had with you guys in my haul video where I was discussing the NYX lip primer.